going on there, YouTube? I'm just winding down from working on the rat rod, trying to do some repairs from its first real outing. I trashed it. So, yeah, thought I'd take a change of pace here and do something a little different. I bought some new products the other day. Some more of my streaking things here. I used this AK Rust Streaks on the rat rod and was very happy with how that came out. So I picked up these. These are the only ones they had at my local hobby shop. I got an engine oil glossy finish, which I'm going to have to be very careful with, and a streaking grime for DAC vehicles, whatever that is. I'm assuming that's a military kind of look. So I'm just going to mess around this old blue Hilux here. Never really been satisfied with the weathering on it. It looks a little too... I really like how the roof came out, but the rest of it's kind of hit and miss, so whatever happens, happens. I'm not too upset about it. And got my towel here so I can wipe it down if something really doesn't work out. So I think I'm going to start out with the rust since I'm kind of familiar with that, but it is going to be completely different on this bright light blue than it was on that dark green. And I've come to find with weathering and things like that, you've got to be very cautious when working on light colors. And I have not used that type of rust on a light color yet, so I don't really know what to expect. But I know it's going to be a lot more prominent than it was on the rat rod. So I'm going to get set up and we'll get started. Alright, so change of plans. I'm not going to start with the rust on the body just yet. I'm going to go ahead and try this engine oil grease on the winch. Add a little bit of depth to that. That winch is all shiny and new. I'm getting attacked by bugs in here. I don't know how they always get in my workshop, but oh well. So this stuff looks pretty runny. Where's my brush? Now, when I do weathering and body stuff, I never clean anything. This brush is still covered in rust. It's kind of dried and fluffed out from when I did the rat rod, and I'm not going to wash it. I'm not going to clean the body. You can see this thing's covered in dust and dirt from being out on the trail. To me, that's just part of it, so I don't really care. Try not to do too much here. I'm going to hit some of these little fins over here first and see. May not even be able to see it. We'll cover the stickers and stuff. Well, let's just do the whole thing. That's how weathering always works out. Start out slow, but oh well. So, ran down in there nice. Got in all the little nooks and crannies. Let that dry for a minute. It'll be a second for y'all, and we'll see what it looks like. Alright guys, well that stuff does dry very glossy. I went ahead and hit it with a layer of the Pigment binder, which also acts as a dulling agent. And up close you can see a little bit of grunge on it. It's supposed to look like engine oil, but on the black it just doesn't show up. So we'll just dull it down. I'm going to go ahead and move on because that's going to take all night to dry. So I think I'm going to start on this fender over here, and we'll try out the rust like we started to here on the light finish. Try and get this thing to focus. And go ahead and just wipe my brush off. We got a little bit of Pigment binder on there. It's not going to hurt anything. Let's see. Rust streaks. And you can see there's some stuff that doesn't look very scale on there. I was just kind of half-assed doing that when I did this truck. I started up top, and of course I got a really good result, and I was like, yay, alright. And I did the whole thing kind of in a hurry, and it didn't come out that good. So I'm just going to do like always here and just go to town. Try to do this just one panel. Stuff's very runny. It's supposed to run down and look like streaks, so that makes sense. Get the edge of the bumper there. So I think I'm going to experiment with this. I'm going to let this one set. I do have my little fan blowing on it, and I'm going to let it set for a little bit, and we'll dab it off and see what it looks like. Because honestly, it doesn't look bad like it is. I'm sure it's going to thin out as it dries, but I'm looking for something a little bit more aggressive on here, and that might look cool having a panel a little bit different color. So let that dry. Be right back. All right, guys, I'm really liking the way this looks, but we're experimenting, so I'm going to go ahead and dab it just to see. I had a little bit of a puddle right there on the top of the fender. I'm trying to get rid of some of these really wet spots. I don't want to wipe yet because I don't want it to all come off. I'm going to try a little bit of wipe on the top here. Oh, well, that doesn't want to come off. Alright. Yeah, I think we'll try something else on top of it next. I'm going to let it dry a little bit more before we move on. I'll go ahead and dab on it a little harder. Let's see what happens. I had some dark spots back here. You almost get, when you dab on this weathering, I learned this when I was doing the rat rod, it kind of gives you a marble effect. Not that anybody would want a marble paint job on their car. It has been done, but it kind of, you can make it look cool just playing with different textures. Different, like the t-shirt's pretty smooth, or you could go to something like this shop rag. It's real coarse. It's already too dry to show that, but you can get a lot of different things. Sponges. There's a lot of different techniques. I don't like how I've wiped off that edge right here. I'm going to let it dry a bit longer, and I think we're going to come back with something else on top. Alright guys, so I tried this streaking grime. I didn't realize that was a specific color to make grime on. It's kind of a OD green, military green. So that I'm not really going to have a purpose for on this. I tried it back here on the back corner and it just kind of stained a little bit. It could come in handy here and there, but as far as doing something like this, it's not going to work. So let's see what's next. I'm going to take this engine oil, and I hate this because it's glossy, but I'm going to smear some of this along here. Just see what happens. It almost looks like real motor oil here. I just taking the other stuff right off. May have rushed a little too soon. We'll let it run down here. Let's just go ahead and screw it all up while we're at it. And we'll see what happens. It's kind of, let's see. It'll be a lot of waiting. This is going to be the longest video, I think, for me. It won't be very long for y'all. So, we'll sit and wait. Alright guys, I went ahead and dabbed that kind of forcefully with the towel here. I'm going to let that dry for a while longer. I'm going to move on to another panel. Let's see. Maybe move to the back. Yeah, tailgate needs some love. Tailgate looks kind of, you can see the brush marks and stuff from the other wash. I think what I used on this was the part of the Rustall kit, the orange. It really stained. Anywhere it touched this light color, it really stained it. I'm digging this rust streak stuff. It's coming out pretty good on here. I'm gonna go ahead and hit, do the whole tailgate. Why not? Start, make it look like it's off a different truck maybe. Probably should have took the body off, but this way it's up and yeah, up off the workbench, so it'll be a little bit easier to get to. Oh, a little too much. Let's go ahead and just cover once, and then we'll start trying to direct the streaks down maybe. I don't know what's going to happen here. This stuff is very unpredictable. Just running down. Got a lot up at the top. Trying to get some on the latches. I think this stuff will look pretty good. I may have to come back over it with a black wash. Just to kind of dull it down, especially on that front fender, since that the oil streaks that I tried on it was gloss. I definitely think I'll have to come back and dull that down. But yeah, let this one sit for a while, and we'll move back up to the front and see what we can do there. Alright, the back started drying a little quicker, so I'm getting a little more aggressive here with my towel, my shirt. Having a hard time getting down there, of course. This body's on there still. Trying to not make any patterns that will stand out. looking okay. I think I still need a black wash. I'm going to go ahead and move over to the fender again. I think it's dry for the most part. I'm trying to decide here whether I want to do an actual black wash or do I want to do the black pigment and the pigment binder. I don't have any. I've used this a little bit, the actual wash from Vallejo. I'm just kind of, I don't know. I've used it once, so let's go ahead and try it again. Just going to pour it up here at the top. And we'll come through and brush it. Well, stuff doesn't want to run. Come through and smear it around and see what we get. Make sure you can see there. This stuff is a lot runnier than doing it the other way, which in certain scenarios is good. I'm used to working with the pigment binder, and the pigments, they're very, very predictable. So this doesn't look like it's taking the rust off, which is good. It's not as aggressive as the oil stuff. All that enamel stuff is really, really heavy, and it smells really bad. Well, strong. So we'll just see. You know, I didn't have a plan starting this video, guys, so if this comes out looking like crap, you know, we're all learning here. And I try to keep that the theme of the channel, is just learning. We're all learning together. I'm no expert, and I try not to claim to be. And I'm just sharing my experiences with you, good and bad. I got a little bit up here on the top, on the hood, which I don't want just yet. And that black wash is really, really into that light blue finish. Now, if you don't remember, this truck is, it's a satin finish. I try to always use satin paints because they take to the weathering stuff a lot better. I don't really ever do much prep work. I don't sand them smooth. I don't really try to get rid of mold lines. You can see there's a little dimple right there. It's from the casting of the body. I just don't like doing body work. I've done a lot of real body work, and this is very similar to doing real car body work, so I like to just try to hide everything in the weathering best I can. I'm not sure yet how longer I'm going to let this sit. That stuff is very runny, so I don't think it's going to take quickly. I missed a little spot up there. Got to get the whole fender even, I guess, just so it looks like it was off something else. I'm going to let it sit just a minute. Alright guys, so I think I should have done that a little bit sooner. I had to wipe pretty aggressively. We got some weird marks and stuff on it. It looks pretty random to me. It's a very neat look. It's different. I think for the look of a separate fender like that, I should have painted the fender a different color first. That way it would pop a little more, paint like a yellow or something that just stands out. But we're learning. Up here I rubbed a little hard. I got down to blue again, so I'm going to have to come back and touch that up. But it's a very different look. So I'm going to go ahead and spin it back around. And we're going to do, this time I'm going to do the pigment, the black pigment on the tailgate. And we'll see how that differs in appearance to the wash that we just did. Alright, got my pigment binder and my black pigment, all Vallejo. Dip it in there, dip it in there. Start at the top. Now this almost goes on like a paste when I do it like this. That's how I know how to work with it. It's slow drying, but I know how it operates. I'm trying to get details like the hinges real good, the latches, because you'll never get it out of the cracks around the latches, so when you go to wipe it, you'll have that nice texture, that depth added to the body. Working in the cracks first, get a little bit more. You can do this as thick or as runny as you want. I like doing it a little bit thicker, just enough to get down in all the little places. Try to get up here in our bed rails. And yeah, that way it stays down in there, and then it's easier to wipe off when it's thicker. But if you're trying to if you got some kind of something crazy with lots and lots of little nooks and crannies, like say the cruiser body door panels, I had to do it pretty runny when I did that and let it dry a bit before I wiped it. It's just how it works. But the best way to learn to do this is just get some and start smearing it around on something you don't really care about and see how it goes from there. I'm going to go ahead and hit my roll pan a little bit. I should have got it with the rust, but oh well. And under the tail light, just trying to darken everything up a little bit. You don't want that bright blue showing through. Alright, let that dry for just a minute. And tech tip, whenever working with liquids, weathering or paints or anything, the minute you're done using it, put the lid on. I lost a bottle of pigment binder once. I think I did it on camera on a video. I went to start dabbing off the finish and poop, knocked it right out on the workshop here. There's a stain up here somewhere on my fake concrete floor. The only problem with the pigment binder is when you go to wipe it, you get a lot on the towel or your shirt, so you end up getting it on you. Trying to test it. I don't want to hide our rust completely, so I'm leaving a little bit more up top, but I think on the front I'm going to do more actual wiping. And this stuff doesn't want to come off at all. Alright, there we go. That's a neat look. Another happy accident. Bob Ross would be proud. Huh. Look at that. I think I'm going to stop with that. The rust isn't as prominent as it is on the fender, but it just looks like, I don't know, looks like the tailgate used to be a different color. And it's been hacked on for a little bit with some sandpaper. Trying to get rid of some of the streaks, some of the texture marks from the shirt. You can see like a crackle. That's another thing with the satin paint that I used on this body. I sprayed it a little bit heavy. I always do because you get in a hurry. And you can see some of it up here. It's spider webbed. It's cracked, but it did its scale. It wasn't too much, and I think made a neat effect. It looks like it's been painted over, but the original finish is cracking out, and you're left with marks. I'll zoom you in there so you can get a better look at it. Maybe the camera doesn't want to play. And you can see a little bit of the texture there. That's a neat look. It's different than the fender, definitely. So, let that dry. We'll flip back around to the front and see what it looks like now. I have to do that touch up. Alright guys, so the fender's looking pretty good. I think, I really like how that tailgate come out. I think I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the truck like that. I'm not sure. I want it to be a little rustier, but I don't know. I'm going to follow that step exactly. I'm going to go ahead and do rust first and let it dry and then come back with the black wash, with the pigment binder I mean. So I don't know. I'm just going to start messing around and we'll see what happens. I'll go ahead and hit the touch up on the fender while I'm doing the rest of this side. brief intermission here. I'm going to have to let this dry overnight and come back with an aggressive black wash because it's just a little too rusty. Like where I did here, I came back with the black wash on the rust. It's taken too much of the rust off. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave it overnight. Hopefully tomorrow night I can get back out here and try to add a black wash, get a little bit more even finish. I may have to re-rust the bed sides. I had the same issue on this side and I tried to fix it immediately. So you can see a lot of blue showing through still. This stuff is just too orangey. It's just a little too rusty for me, so I think the black wash will help with that. So we're just going to leave it and we'll pick it up here in a little bit tomorrow. Alright guys, it is morning. This thing is pretty much dry. Just going to get in here and see what I can do before I go to work tonight. This side's not bad. I think the other side was where I was having troubles. It just looks like mud smeared on the side of the bed. Not sure what to do with that. I think I need to do the rust over that section again, and hopefully the brush hasn't dried out too much. Yeah. Where'd it go? There it is. Alright, so I'm going to hit that side with more rust and let it dry good. Hopefully we can make it match the rest of the truck a little better. Alright guys, so I've just been throwing stuff at this on this side. Just trying different things. I'd do rust and I'd come back with black pigment binder and pigment, and I'd come back with rust and I'd do black wash. Just pretty much one coat and you're supposed to stop and let it wait, but I'm just trying different things. The door, I need to see how it looks once it dries, obviously. These dark spots, see if they'll lighten up a little bit, but this section right here is a very realistic rust. Liking that. The top is looking pretty good so far. I got a few brush streaks I need to work out. I was working on this side here trying to blend with some black because it was still a little bit, you can see a little bit more of the blue than I wanted. So I'll keep working on that once it dries. My fender was looking good, but it's wiping down to the blue again, so I'm going to have to let it dry again. That bedside, I don't know. Part of me likes it, part of me doesn't. It still looks like it needs a black wash as well. I think where I'm at right now, I'm going to let it dry again, and maybe tonight when I get off work, I'm going to come back with a black wash over most of the truck. A good heavy black wash, try to get the cracks and the body lines and stuff to stand out more. And then we'll let it dry, and in the morning, hopefully, it'll be all wonderful and perfect. Let's flip it around here. See if I can show you the winch. It dried overnight as well. It definitely looks used. You can see that. It added a nice haze to it, and there's some grease spots around the bottom where that oil wash that we put on there is run down, and I think that looks pretty good. Still, the hood where I filled the body hole from where I had this mounted on something else a while ago needs some work. This side's still a lot more blue than the other one. I'm not sure yet how I feel about that. I'm hoping the black wash in the end will even everything out. Just trying something different almost on every panel, trying to get a different look. Some of it looks pretty natural, some of it doesn't. But hopefully we can blend it all together at the end and make it work. So let's fast forward time. Alright folks, back on the weathering. So everything's dried now. This side you can still see a little bit too much blue for me. Let me show you where we're at on the other side. The other side's a bit more severe. Probably need a little bit more on the bed. I'm really digging this door, especially this part. Some of the rest of it's a little bit heavy, but yeah. Gonna hit this side with a little bit more rust, try to get some of this blue that I wore down, and then I'm gonna move my way around to the other side and go ahead and add a black wash on it and see what we get. Alright guys, I think I'm done. I got a little carried away, of course. Part of the fun. I went into this with no plan, no idea, no boundaries as far as what I was going to do. I did just notice that I can still see the inside of its bright blue. We'll have to come back and paint market that or find some door panels or something. But yeah. Here at the end I'll show you a slideshow of close-up still shots so you can see better some of the details. Some of it's still a little wet, but I've been waiting 2.5 days for this, so I am not waiting any longer for it to dry. But yeah, it's not perfect. It's not, I don't know, it's a bit extreme. This driver's door is probably the best I've done so far. The bed could still use some work, especially this side's a little rusty, but it's all uneven. It looks like maybe the bed came off a different truck or something like that. But I'm just messing around. Love it or hate it. That's how it is. So anyways, you stay tuned for a little quick slideshow here, and appreciate everybody watching. Please like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you in the next video.